Lawrence with this expanded 8 o'clock newscast, streaming to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. For several months, DeWitt County's first responding agencies have been looking forward to upgrades coming to its communications. DeWitt County Sheriff Mike Walker indicates those upgrades went live this month, and the early reports are positive.
The system we currently have is an older system, and it was starting to fail, and it was based on having a repeater in Clinton and a repeater in Farmer City, and then in-car repeaters, and that it just didn't work well for us for the last several years. So it was something that was going to need to be upgraded because anymore things don't last as long as they are, and it was getting to the end of life. So fortunately, the county had ARPA money, and we put a new system in place. We got 4 sites now instead of 2, or 5 sites, I'm sorry. We got one in Kinney, Waynesville, Clinton, Farmer City, and Weldon. Our coverage is going to be much better. We were having guys that were being in certain areas of the county. Not only could they not get out on their portable radios, but they couldn't get out on their in-car mobile radios. So the testing for that system started last week. It's working. The coverage that they showed us in a map, it is actually in their testing has exceeded that. So we should be able to have coverage on our system well into some of our surrounding counties. Then as we were in the middle of this project, we discovered that our portable radios were not supported by Motorola any longer, and something as simple as a on-off knob not working, they would not fix. So I asked the board for more money, for those, and fortunately they approved that with ARPA money, and we got those ordered simply because, again, those are almost 15 years old, and once one starts to fail, they all start to fail.
Tony Harris is the director of the DeWitt County 911 Center and indicates the new system has already proven it will be better than what was in place before in DeWitt County.
Going well. I'm happy to announce that as of yesterday, a year-long project we got completed. It's a joint effort between the Sheriff's Department, the county, the City of Clinton, and my office, CENTCOM, and 911. We just got our radio project finished, where we replaced our main law enforcement channel. We replaced that channel and a backup law enforcement channel, and we are currently working on beefing up the fire radio channel. So it's again a joint effort between all disciplines to get this done. We went live yesterday with the main CENTCOM 1 law enforcement radio channel, and we had this accident, and it proved itself that this was a good move. This was a good way to spend the COVID relief money because it was crystal clear. Dispatch could hear the officers could hear dispatch.
Sheriff Walker says the county has not had its communications equipment updated in some time and feels this was a worthwhile expenditure of the COVID money. The 56th Annual Apple and Pork Festival is in the books, and it was another successful year. Director of the C.H. Moore Homestead and DeWitt County Museum, Joey Long, explains the large majority of vendors present at the festival say they sold out or got close.
Pretty much along the same lines as what you're reporting. So we have talked to a few of them since the festival, and we had a lot of very pleased organizations, some that sold out, some that came close. And again, all of that money that they take in helps them continue with their mission statements. All of them are nonprofit organizations that serve DeWitt County. So, yeah, really good. And, you talked about that number as far as the attendance number. 80,000 is what we hope for. 80,000 is what we consider a little above average. So, we were fortunate in that we went over that number this year. And, this year was a little off perhaps due to the weather factor. Mm-hmm. As early as the Tuesday before the festival, I had a lot of phone calls at the museum, both people thinking of attending as well as, some of the vendors as well, just, concerned about, they were calling for the high winds, and there was a lot of rain around us. We didn't really get the rain here, but a lot of people were leery. But it's good to see that even with those considerations, people still came, and we had a good number this year.
Of course, the festival acts as a fundraiser for the homestead, which can be an expensive task. Long says they haven't zeroed in on a project for the funds from this year's festival quite yet. A Central Illinois school district is celebrating homecoming a little late on the WHOW Morning Show Tuesday. Superintendent of Maroa-Forsyth Schools, Adam Ibbotson, told Regional Radio they had to move homecoming this year because Riverton, their planned football opponent, canceled its football season.
Yeah, week 9. So we are having homecoming week this week. Grade school, middle school, high school, all joining in on the celebrations with different dress-up days and themes throughout the week. Just to remind everyone that we had to move homecoming because we ended up with Riverton not having a game, and we had to travel on the road to DeWitt that week. So we were able to pick up a game, but we had to move homecoming. So all of our festivities are this week.
Ibbotson says they'll have things like, of course, the Powder Puff football game, a bonfire, and the traditional homecoming parade. He and other administrators were nervous about the scheduling and weather, but things look like they will hold up, and he looks forward to a great week of homecoming in Maroa. We're just a few weeks away from the always popular shotgun hunting season, and as hunters anticipate, for some, their favorite time of the year, Department of Natural Resources Conservation Police Captain John Williamson reminds hunters to give those tree stands a good once-over. He says it never fails. They seem to always get calls of a hunter falling from a tree stand.
Every year we do the same discussion, you know, what the first thing, probably should have happened in July, August, September is go out and check those stands. If you've left stands up, make sure they're still in good shape. The one accident that I know of off the top of my head was a stand that the guy admitted that this is a stand he thought was in good shape, whatever, and when he got up in it, was just putting a safety belt on, it fell down, and then he went about 25 feet to the ground. So you've got to make sure and check those things out beforehand.
Captain Williamson indicates last week leftover tags in certain counties became available, and it went into effect last year, but he reminds hunters to be mindful of the changes around rifles and hunting.
There's really nothing new except, we do have the new rifle law. It came into effect last year, just after the shotgun. No, it was in effect last year. So make sure you realize what rifles are legal. We get a lot of questions. If you look at our DNR website, it'll give you a lot of information on that.
Again, that website is dnr.illinois.gov. News time, 8:15 on this Wednesday. We stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Coming up in sports this morning, a look at some high school football news. Clinton off a tough loss to Dee-Mack. Needs to rebound fast with a matchup at El Paso Gridley to become playoff eligible. That story and more in sports next.
The old way of doing things makes sense for some things, like a hot dog at the game. But the old ways don't make sense if you expect more yield out of your acres, because there's a new way to unlock the full potential of your fields, and it starts when you plant and list corn. With 4 robust trait tolerances, glyphosate and glufosinate, plus 2,4-D choline and FOP, it unleashes ultimate weed control flexibility with multiple modes of action to fight weeds. See what's possible for your fields at enlist.com/corn.
496.
With SRN Sports, I'm Jeremy House. In the NBA, the defending champion Boston Celtics opened the regular season with a banner performance in a 132-109 rout of the New York Knicks.
Boston matched the 2020 Bucks for the most three-pointers made in a game with 29, but missed its last 13 attempts trying to break the record. Jason Tatum scored 25 of his game-high 37 points in the first half as the Celtics led by as many as 35. Jalen Brunson and Miles McBride scored 22 apiece, while Karl Anthony Towns had 12 points and 7 rebounds in his Knicks debut.
That's correspondent Gethin Coolball reporting. Elsewhere, LeBron James and Bronny James became the first father and son to play in the NBA together during the Los Angeles Lakers' 110-103 victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. The 39-year-old LeBron James and his 20-year-old son played almost 2.5 minutes together. This is SRN Sports. In the NHL, after opening the season at 0-5-0, the Nashville Predators finally find some success.
The Nashville Predators finally broke into the win column, beating the visiting Boston Bruins 4-0. UC Saros returned to his Vezina Trophy caliber form, turning aside all 33 shots he faced for his first shutout of the season and the 24th of his career. Former Norris Trophy winning defenseman Roman Yossi had 2 helpers. Winger Luke Evangelista had 2 points of his own. And veteran center Ryan O'Reilly had a goal and assist as well.
That's correspondent Jeremy K. Gover reporting. Other winners included Washington, Minnesota, Buffalo, Tampa Bay, the New York Rangers, Columbus, Detroit, Winnipeg, Vancouver, Colorado, Carolina, Ottawa, Calgary, Anaheim, and Vegas. In baseball news, Shohei Ohtani's 50th home run ball was sold at auction for nearly $4.4 million, a record high price. This is SR.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. After a brutal loss to Dee-Mack Friday night, the Clinton Maroons will face a win and in scenario for the postseason. Dee-Mack pulled out all the stops in a 38-20 win over Clinton, putting the Maroons at 4-4 on the season and needing a win Friday night at El Paso Gridley to qualify for the postseason. Coach Ron Bass says his team got beat at the point of attack Friday.
Defensively, we got whipped up front. I mean, they were just bigger and stronger, and we were up front, and were able to move us. And, we had opportunities to make plays, but, tackling killed us tonight. There was a lot of missed tackles. From our linebacking crew, a lot of missed tackles. It's one of those things where it's like the fundamentals. Sometimes you get so caught up in all the formations and the wackiness that you get out there, and you lose sight of your fundamentals. So, that's part of being a good team, is continuing to be a fundamentally sound team, even when you're being stressed cognitively by what the offense is throwing at you.
Coach Bass pulled a few tricks from his sleeve Friday night, but he says ultimately it did not matter because of how good Dee-Mack was up front through the course of the game.
It's not an easy job, I will tell you that.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, we're trying to get, for us, we're trying to get our athletes, our best athletes with the ball in their hands. So I think you probably noticed based off those play calls who the best athletes we have are. So from their standpoint, that's... That like I said, that there's they're big, so they're just using those offensive linemen to their advantage, and they're trying to catch you misaligned, and I felt like we were aligned pretty well tonight. It's just it didn't matter. We got beat up front.
After 4 straight losses and coming into a must-win game in Week 9, Coach Bass is putting it on his team this week.
Well, we'll see on Monday. We'll get together with the kids and see where they want to go and what they want to do. So I challenge them with that. What do you want to do? How do you want us to coach you this final week? So we'll see what the kids have to say Monday.
After the Maroons travel to El Paso Gridley Friday night to wrap up the regular season, the Titans are playoff eligible at 5-3 and have won 3 in a row. Game time Friday is 7 p.m. Hear the action on 92.3 FM and 106.5 FM WHOW and online at DeWittDailyNews.com, as well as our digital platforms. Monticello is back in the state rankings and winners of 7 straight. All the excitement left Monticello football coach Coley Welter feeling like his team was caught up in all the excitement after a 28-13 win over Prairie Central Friday night in Monticello.
After the game, that's what we talked about, is sometimes you got to slog through some games. I wasn't overly pleased with how we came out, preached all week, and talked about senior leadership and talked about not being satisfied with last week, and it's tough. I mean, and people get excited, people start telling them things, hey, and they're 18-year-old, 17-year-old, 16-year-old kids, they start believing it. It's like, we have a lot more to accomplish, and so a little disappointed with that, but we talked about it. I thought when we needed to, we made the plays we needed to, and again, sometimes winning ugly is still winning. Let everybody else enjoy what's going on, the celebrations, the atmosphere, the environment, all the stuff that goes on, that's for them. And I pointed to the football field. This is us. This is for us. This is where we focus, right? Let everybody else enjoy that. You focus on, what it takes to get better every week. And
Coach, the Monticello run game has been a work in progress all season, and Friday night the Sages were able to put the game away with a long, methodical drive that leaned on the run game late. Coach Welter was pleased to see that.
I feel like knock on wood, that a lot of times when we've been in a fourth down, a medium, short situation, we've come through this year. We've gotten those tough yards. In years past, we being 4th and 1, and it's the worst down for me because I'm like, we struggled. Struggled the quarterback sneak, struggled to get a yard, struggled to do that. And I thought Prairie Central did a very good job defensively against the run, and we had trouble running the ball tonight. But like you said, when we needed some big plays, even I think early in the game, we hit a Nolan on a flood. That was a big play. And then, right there, like you said, we at least took the timeout clock. I would have liked to punch it in there, but you're right. We took the clock off and did what we needed to do.
Really. Monticello's run defense kept 2 dynamic playmakers in check in back-to-back weeks. Coach Welter has been pleased with the defense of late.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, last week was exceptional, and I thought for the most part tonight we did an excellent job as well. They have 3 pretty solid backs, and Alt, he's you can see how fast he is, but he's a hard runner. You just notice that he just keeps his legs churning, and he's just a physical kid. So it wears on you defensively.
Game time Friday night is 7 o'clock. The Sages travel to Unity for a rivalry game to finish out the regular season. Monticello has not beaten the Rockets since the 2018 season when Monticello went on to win the state championship. Again, game time is 7 o'clock. Hear all the action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. The annual WHOW WEZC High School Football Playoff Preview Show can be heard this Saturday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Hear from high school football coaches from around Central Illinois whose teams will be playing postseason football. Then hear as the pairings are released and where your school lands in the playoffs. The show will originate from the WHOW studios and can be heard on 92.3 FM and 106.5 FM WHOW at 95.9 FM WEZC, streaming online at DeWittDailyNews.com and on Facebook and YouTube. That's the annual high school football playoff preview show on Saturday night from 7 to 9 p.m. on WHOW, WEZC, and all its digital platforms. The New Orleans Pelicans were open to trading Brandon Ingram in the offseason, while the Chicago Bulls were open to trading Zach LaVine. But neither team received a satisfactory offer for their former All-Stars. So when the two meet tonight in the season opener in New Orleans, Ingram will still be in New Orleans and LaVine will still be in Chicago. Both teams did make significant moves in the offseason to try to break out of the middle of the pack in their conferences. New Orleans acquired guard DeJounte Murray from Atlanta in exchange for 4 players, though none of them were starters. Murray was not with the team at the beginning of the week because of a family emergency, though he is expected to return. New Orleans is excited to pair Murray with Ingram and forward Zion Williamson, but it has uncertainty at center after sending Jonas Valanciunas to Washington. Journeyman Daniel Tice, European rookie Carlo Matkovic, and first-round pick Yves Misi will rotate in at center. The Pelicans may also play with a traditional center at times. Last year, Chicago wrapped up the regular season 39-43 and did not make it past the play-in tournament. In July, the Bulls traded leading scorer DeMar DeRozan to Sacramento in a 3-team trade that brought them guard Chris Duarte. That deal came after Chicago traded Alex Caruso to Oklahoma City for guard Josh Giddey. In the process, the Bulls got younger, and head coach Billy Donovan has prepared his team to play a faster tempo. Goaltender Connor Hellebuck, last season's Vezina Trophy winner, recorded 27 saves and sparked the Winnipeg Jets to a 3-2 victory over the St. Louis Blues Tuesday night. Scoring for the Jets were Nino Niederreiter, Colin Miller, and Kyle Connor. All 3 goals came in the second. Cole Perfetti assisted on all 3 goals. Brandon Saad scored both goals for the Blues. Robert Thomas assisted on both. Hellebuck is 16-5-2 in his best career against St. Louis and improved to 5-0 this season. Jordan Bennington had 21 saves for St. Louis, who closed out a 4-game homestand. Winnipeg has owned the Blues over the last 3 seasons, winning 10 of the past 12 matchups. Saad earned his 500th career point in the first period when he scored his first goal this season at 10-11, giving St. Louis a 1-0 lead. Saad has 254 goals and 246 assists in his 857-game career. The 31-year-old was a second-round pick by the Blackhawks in 2011. The Blues begin a 4-game road trip against Toronto on Thursday. Danton Heinen scored 2 of Vancouver's 4 first-period goals as the Canucks beat the Blackhawks 6-3 Tuesday night for their 3rd straight win. JT Miller had a goal and 2 assists for the Canucks, who closed out a 3-1 road trip. Brock Bossert, Connor Garland, and Pius Suter scored. Kevin Lankinen had 31 saves against his first NHL team. Heinen finished a pretty passing sequence. 21 seconds into the game, he picked up his 2nd goal of the season at 10:46, giving Vancouver a 3-1 lead. Taylor Hall, Ryan Donato, and Tyler Bertuzzi scored for Chicago in its 3rd loss in 4 games. Peter Mrazek had 24 stops. Hall's goal with 6:31 left in the first was his 2nd of the season and 700th career point. The Blackhawks went 1 for 5 on the power play, while the Canucks were 2 for 3 with the man advantage. Chicago will host Nashville on Friday. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace now offers free assembly and free delivery, so it's never been easier to get a great grill for your family, like a Weber gas grill, a Traeger wood pellet grill, or a Big Green Egg charcoal grill. Only at your neighborhood Ace. Around the block. What you need in stock. With people who know their grills.
This is Brad from Gibson Ace Hardware in Clinton, Illinois. Stop in to see us, the helpful place at 114 North Madison Street, Clinton.
See participating store for details.
WSRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Israeli jets have struck multiple buildings in Lebanon's southern coastal city of Tyre, sending large clouds of black smoke into the air. There were no reports of casualties in Tyre. That's where the Israeli military had issued evacuation warnings prior to the strikes. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says there is evidence that North Korea has sent troops to Russia. South Korea's spy chief told lawmakers that 3,000 North Korean troops are in the country receiving training on drones and other equipment before being deployed to battlefields in Ukraine to help the Russian invasion succeed. Former President Trump says he feels for all North Carolina hurricane victims. He says he's especially praying for those in the Asheville area still suffering from so much devastation from Hurricane Helene. U.S. taxpayers will see higher standard deductions for 2025, allowing them to shield more of their income from taxes. This is
from the newsroom of Regional Radio.